There's a massive update out of Oregon today, and it starts with a fire most people outside the region haven't even heard of, despite it being nearly 7 times the size of the fire that's been dominating headlines. The Big Grass Fire, burning along the Idaho-Oregon border, has now scorched more than 582,000 acres. That makes it the largest active fire in the entire state, dwarfing the Grasshopper Fire near Mount Hood, which itself just made a genuine breakthrough, jumping to 30% containment. On top of that, 2 brand new fires broke out this week, and Oregon has now officially confirmed the worst wildfire season in its recorded history. I'm going to walk you through everything new across the state. Let's get into it. Let's start with the story that deserves far more attention than it's been getting. The Big Grass Fire, burning along the Idaho-Oregon border in Malheur and Owyhee counties, has burned 582,226 acres and is now 54% contained. To put that acreage in perspective, this single fire is larger than the city of Los Angeles, larger than the state of Rhode Island, and it's more than 6 times the size of the Grasshopper Fire, which has been getting far more national attention simply because of its proximity to Mount Hood and the Portland media market. This fire started from a lightning strike back on July 23rd, roughly 25 miles southwest of Jordan Valley, Oregon. Its growth over the past 3 weeks has been staggering. It stood at just over 339,000 acres and 19% containment on August 3rd. By August 4th, it had grown further. By August 10th, it had passed 550,000 acres. By August 12th and 13th, it was holding around 579,000 acres at 34% containment. And now, as of the most recent update, it sits at 582,226 acres and 54% contained, a genuinely significant jump in containment over just the last couple of days. That jump didn't happen by accident. Cooler, more humid weather moved through the region and gave crews a real opening. On Wednesday, intensive suppression efforts limited the fire's growth to just 5 acres across its entire massive footprint, an extraordinary achievement for a fire this size, and a clear sign of how much weather conditions matter even on fires that have been burning for weeks. Firefighters used the calmer conditions to push into more remote sections of the fire that had previously been inaccessible due to safety concerns, and multiple aircraft continued dropping water and retardant while dozers cut containment lines around the section of the fire that had edged onto the Duck Valley Indian Reservation. The scale of the operation here is hard to overstate. Fire officials say the fire's perimeter now stretches an astonishing 670 miles. For context, that's roughly the driving distance from Portland to Salt Lake City. Given a perimeter that enormous, crews have turned to drone technology to check for hot spots across sections of the fire line that would otherwise take days to patrol on foot or by vehicle. There's still real danger here, though. A red flag warning has been extended, running until 8 p.m. Mountain Time this Friday, because of the continued potential for gusty, erratic winds and new lightning-sparked fire starts. Officials are blunt about the math here. While lightning itself can't be prevented, the vast majority of wildfires nationwide are actually human-caused, and they're urging the public to use extreme caution with any ignition source and to follow local fire restrictions closely, especially with a fire this size, still only just past the halfway point of containment. Scattered light rain showers are expected in the area, and relative humidity is rising, which is genuinely good news. But fire officials are cautioning that fuels remain dry enough to burn regardless, especially in any spot where winds manage to push flames into fresh, unburned vegetation. Evacuations remain active too. A Level 3 GO evacuation order covers a wide stretch of Owyhee County, including the community of Dick Shooter and areas around Triangle Reservoir, Pleasant Valley, South Mountain, and Flint Creek Road. A Level 2 set evacuation warning remains in effect for Silver City. At an earlier point in this fire's growth, more than 300 residential structures and over 400 smaller structures were listed as threatened, with 4 injuries reported and around 159 people evacuated at that stage of the incident. Given how much this fire has grown since, those numbers may well have shifted, and it's a fire worth watching closely if you have any connection to southeastern Oregon or southwestern Idaho. Now to the fire that's been dominating our coverage for weeks, because there's finally a real breakthrough to report. The Grasshopper Fire, burning east of Mount Hood near the community of Wamak in Wasco County, has grown to 86,974 acres, but containment has jumped meaningfully, now sitting at 30%, up from the 20% it had been stuck at for the better part of a week. This fire has now been burning for 22 days, averaging close to 4,000 acres of growth per day over that stretch, but the containment gains finally starting to outpace that daily growth is a genuinely encouraging sign. The cost of fighting this fire has climbed to just over $54 million, with 1,719 personnel currently assigned under a Type 1 Incident Complex Management team. Satellite data has picked up 62 separate heat detections, clustering near the fire over just the last 48 hours, underscoring how much active heat remains across this footprint, even with containment climbing. Officials say fire activity increased significantly Thursday along the eastern edge of the fire in the Tide Creek area about 2 miles northwest of Shady Brook. Air tankers dropped retardant to slow the spread, while helicopters supported ground crews with water drops. Fire managers also reported increased activity Thursday near structures along Friend Road, though firefighters were able to contain that specific flare-up and aggressively mopped up the area afterward to prevent any further flare-ups from developing. This fire has already destroyed 6 homes and 15 outbuildings, according to the Wasco County Sheriff's Office, though officials have been candid that damage assessments are taking a secondary priority to active suppression, while resources across the region remain stretched thin. Roughly 200 additional buildings remain considered threatened. Evacuation notices in Hood River, Wasco, and Clackamas counties continue to range from Level 1, Be Ready, up to Level 3, Go Now, and residents are being urged to check the Perimeter Map website directly for their specific address, rather than relying on general updates, since zones have continued shifting throughout this fire's 3-week run. There's real human toll behind these numbers, too. Lisa Sethman, a distillery owner living in the small community of Friend, Oregon, has been evacuated with her husband since the fire's early days and has been staying in a hotel in the Dalles. A structural crew of firefighters has been stationed at her property, specifically to protect both her home and her on-site distillery. Reflecting on the experience, Sethman told reporters, "The thing that I really feel was the gift out of all of this was it put things really into perspective, a genuinely striking response from someone who's had to reckon in real time with what to take from her home and what to leave behind." Looking ahead, officials are warning that stronger winds are expected Wednesday afternoon, with increasingly unstable atmospheric conditions forecast for the weekend. That combination is exactly the kind of weather pattern that's driven this fire's biggest single-day surges throughout its history. So even with containment climbing, nobody managing this incident is treating this progress as guaranteed to hold. Beyond the 2 major incidents we've already covered, 2 entirely new large fires broke out across Oregon this week, and both deserve their own mention. The Fielder Mountain Fire started Thursday, about 4 miles southeast of Grants Pass in southern Oregon. Fire officials say it was human-caused and has already burned 400 acres. Level 1, 2, and 3 evacuation orders are now in place across parts of Josephine and Jackson counties. Given how quickly other fires this season have expanded from similarly modest starting points, this is one worth watching closely over the coming days. The Rosenbaum fire also broke out this week, prompting Level 1 and Level 2 evacuation orders in the area. The Wheeler County Sheriff's Office has warned that travel may be delayed along a portion of Highway 19 because of fire activity and emergency response operations in that corridor. Both of these new fires are a sobering reminder that even with grasshopper and big grass dominating headlines, Oregon's fire season is still actively generating new incidents on top of the ones already burning. It's worth stepping back to look at the full scale of what Oregon is dealing with this year. According to the Oregon Department of Forestry, more than 2,427,000 acres have now burned across the state this season, officially surpassing the previous record of 1.93 million acres set back in 2024. That record fell after a red flag warning covering most of northeast Oregon and the entire eastern half of Washington pushed conditions to their limit, extending as far west as the Dalles and Bend. This isn't just a story about 2 or 3 headline fires. Across the broader region, officials have reported that 51 large fires are currently burning across Oregon and Washington combined, with total suppression costs across all of them now estimated at $820 million. That's a genuinely staggering figure, and it reflects just how many separate, resource-intensive incidents are being managed simultaneously across the two states. To put that number in context, it's a figure that rivals the annual budget of a mid-sized city government, spent entirely on fighting fire in a single season, with weeks of what's traditionally peak fire activity still remaining on the calendar. Not every story in Oregon right now is about growth and new starts. A number of fires across the state have made real, substantial progress, and they deserve mention too. The Hay Creek complex has reached full 100% containment. The Akawa Butte fire is at 99%. The Henry fire is at 97%. The Coyote fire is at 89%. The Bench fire is at 86%, with all evacuation notices in that area now fully lifted. The Shingle fire is at 82%. And the Roe Creek complex, one of the larger fires we've tracked closely throughout this season, is now at 81% contained, with power restored to previously affected areas including Keystone Ranch and the stretch from Ochoco Ranger Road to Marks Creek. These numbers matter because they show that Oregon's firefighting resources, spread thin as they are still producing real results across a huge number of incidents simultaneously. It's a genuinely mixed picture. Massive, still growing fires like Big Grass and two brand new starts, sitting right alongside a long list of fires that crews have successfully brought under control. Beyond everything we've already covered, Oregon's fire map remains crowded. The Austin Fire southeast of Estacada continues burning with fire behavior including uphill runs and group torching, and remains under unified command as it moves into a longer suppression phase. The Hagen Fire continues to keep Highway 204 closed between Weston and Elgin, spanning roughly 39 miles, with Level 1, 2, and 3 evacuations still active across Union and Umatilla counties. The Egypt and Stone Creek fires continue to keep Bureau of Land Management land closed nearby, and evacuation levels around Baker County have been reduced as crews there have made progress. Additional fires including Bologna, Olive Butte, Burnt Creek, and Powder River continue burning across various parts of the state, with numerous smaller fires also active as firefighters respond to rapidly changing conditions statewide. If you're anywhere near the Big Grass Fire's footprint in Malheur or Owyhee County, take the Level 3 evacuation order seriously if you're in one of the affected zones, and watch closely for the red flag warning conditions through Friday evening. New lightning spark starts remain a real risk given how dry conditions are across that part of the state. If you're near the Grasshopper Fire, keep checking your specific address on the Perimeter Map website rather than relying on general updates, since evacuation zones have shifted repeatedly throughout this fire's run. And if you're anywhere near Grants Pass or in Wheeler County, stay alert to news on the two newest fires, the Fielder Mountain and Rosenbaum fires, since both started this week and their trajectories are still very much unknown. More broadly, across the state, know your evacuation level and take it seriously. Level 3 means leave immediately, no packing, no waiting. Sign up for your county's emergency alert system if you haven't already. Avoid any outdoor activity that could create a spark, since the vast majority of this season's fires, even on a lightning-heavy fire season like this one, have ultimately traced back to human activity somewhere in the state. And if you're near any active fire's footprint, remember that even fires with strong containment numbers like Grasshopper at 30% or Big Grass at 54% still have enormous unsecured perimeter and can shift quickly given the right wind conditions. A 580,000-acre fire most of the country has never heard of, a genuine containment breakthrough on Grasshopper, two brand new fires in a single week, and now Oregon's official worst wildfire season on record. This remains one of the most consequential, actively evolving fire seasons the state has ever faced, and there's still real risk on the table, even as several incidents show genuine signs of coming under control. We'll keep tracking every major fire across the state and bring you the next update as new official data comes in. If this helped, subscribe and turn on notifications, and share this with anyone you know in Oregon. To every firefighter, dozer operator, and first responder on the lines right now, thank you. Stay informed, stay ready, and stay safe out there.